If I told you that one of these shots was filmed with a $4,000 cinema camera and the other on a compact camera with a fixed lens, would you be able to tell me which is which? The FX3 is obviously a better cinema camera, but here's what actually surprised me about the X100VI. The FX3 is a semi-professional cinema camera. Full frame, incredible low light, massive dynamic range. The X100VI, well, dude, I live on a hill right now. About to move. A sign for a new house tomorrow. Closing on a house tomorrow. I'm gonna get off this hill. I'm currently on a hill that people love to go right through a stop sign and speed up and just launch their cars. They don't actually launch them in the air, I don't think, but they go as fast as they can up this hill. What I was saying, X100VI, it's a photo first camera that happens to do video. So naturally, the FX3 destroys it, right? So in this video today, we're gonna talk about why they're kind of interesting. Here's something that surprised me is the X100VI has internal NDs. FX3 does not. You screw on filters or figure something else out. Now, that doesn't make it a cinema camera, but come on, that's pretty cool. All right, how about this one? The X100VI shoots 10-bit 422 video. The FX3 also shoots 10-bit. Rich colors, flexibility in post, same thing, right? We'll just ignore their sensor difference. It's a crop sensor and a full frame sensor we're comparing here, but we're gonna ignore that. Another neat feature is that the X100VI can shoot 4K 60 FPS. I believe the FX3 can do 240 or 120 at 4K, which is cool. I think it's all that really matters, is that 120 at 4K is pretty cool, but it doesn't matter. 4K at 60 that's a big notch for a this little thing. Kind of interesting. Now, I wrote out this whole paragraph, number 2, about autofocus, the second portion. I was like, honestly, there's no real comparison with when you're dealing with Sony autofocus and most any other brand. Sony autofocus is just real good on all their cameras, FX3, 6, and then all their photo line, just A7 III, A7 IV, everything, all that. There's no real comparison. Honestly, I can show you some bad examples of the video autofocus, even if I'm right in the frame, and it knows what it wants. It just doesn't do it. That's not a good way to describe it. It's not the best. I'm not disappointed by it necessarily. You kind of know what you're gonna get. Sometimes you buy a camera and you kind of have to just know the money I spent on it, what it's really good at, where it shines, and some trade-offs. Can't have it all. Okay, so now we're gonna step away for a quick second. Step away from the FX3 and just talk about this Fujifilm. Here's when using it for a video, I think actually really makes sense. It is stealthy and light and gives you plenty of flexibility with its specs to just pull it out and use it in the streets or anywhere you're roaming around. It's really handy. It feels way less intrusive. Now an FX3 is still pretty small, so I give it that, but you have a massive lens, or you can have bigger lenses. You can do an audio top handle, and it just gets a lot. But this kind of feels like it's just your phone taking a little video. But to clarify, that little video that you're taking could look really, really good. Another neat note is, just like with photography, when you're baking in looks with their film emulations, you can use some of those for video and create some really neat looks. Then you're not doing crazy if you don't plan on doing any intensive post-production process. You just put it in and take some video, and it works as a really good beginner camera. I mean, beyond really good beginner camera. It would excel. All I know is there's tons of creative uses for the X100VI that I think competes with most cameras. And you can get into that argument where cameras just are, oh, it's not about the camera. What's it about? It's about the creator. So I've seen all sorts of people using that camera in really, really creative ways on social media, all sorts of creative projects. So it has nothing to do with the camera in the end. I think anyone who's watched my channel knew this is where I was going. Does the X100VI replace the FX3? Absolutely not. Is it really a fair fight? Absolutely not. But if all you have is an X100VI, which is not all you have, that sounds like a silly phrase. Because if all you have is a cell phone, you can still make great stuff. All I wanted to do in this video was talk about some comparisons, use some B-roll, point out some interesting facts about these cameras, and raise some questions, but ultimately remind you that you are the creative one, not your device. Your device is not creativity. That's all up to you. I've seen people use the FX3, FX6, FX9 in horrible ways. And I take horrible pictures and I use it in horrible ways sometimes. And then I've seen the opposite. I probably have said this in multiple videos. Be creative, test the limits, learn as you go. And I know you can get great video out of whatever camera you're using. Post-production's impressive these days. AI is impressive these days. And most cameras nowadays can shoot in some form of 4K. Who needs 4K, honestly? Shoot in HD, 30p, and get creative. Lighting's where it's at anyway. That's for another video. Thanks so much for watching. If you could subscribe, that would be epic. I am excited to tell you I'm moving soon. So hopefully I'm gonna slow down on videos in this little office and we'll be in a new studio in the basement of my house. Yeah, all right, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. All right, I wanted to make this little side quest about the X100VI by itself and kind of show you a few reasons why it's not exactly perfectly functional in the video world. I just knew that someone in the comments would say, your video is not very helpful. And I know it's all true and you're right and I'll work on it. I take those things to heart you say in the comments, so be nice. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate any comment, even if it is completely critical and maybe a little rude, bring it on. I will continue to get better at this. So with that, this one's for you. The X100VI has limited audio functions. So it's nice that it has a little cold shoe. Wow, I don't think I've ever taken that off. And I think, hold on. Okay, we're back. This is just a mic jack, and I'm sure it would have told me, but this is just so you can listen to its in-body mics. So no external microphones, limiting factor. USB-C is just for power transferring photos or tethering when you're taking photos. And then this is just a small micro or mini HDMI. Kind of a bummer. All right. Battery, you have, I'm really going to guess, and I haven't pushed it to its limits, but I'm really going to guess that this battery is not great when you're pushing 4K video. It's just a guess. All you have is one SD card slot. Most video focused cameras have dual recording options or backup recording, or it'll fail over to the second card. So there's that. Another thing, there's not a great way, unless you did all your function buttons and program those in, there's not a great way to get to video. And then using video is clunky. I'm going to leave it right there. Those are a couple of the little facts that I know people might want to know, just to provide a little value and clear some of these details up about this camera. Back into the video. I'll put this in somewhere. This is kind of for you in the comments who wants to hit me with something negative. This is for you. Say something nice.